To me, it's sickening. It's almost to the point where it makes you cry sometimes.
Why did you do it, Chief? How many of your students have been shot and killed?
63.
A half century ago, East St. Louis was an all-American city. Today, it's one of the most depressed and violent cities in the country. Prosecutors call it America's war zone. I've spent nearly a decade there investigating the school district, police, and politicians. Tonight, News 4 investigates how corruption has crippled this beaten-down community, making it harder to do almost anything, including enforcing the law. Did you commit fraud, Larry?
Negative, sir.
They are supposed to enforce the law. Can I read the warrant to you? But repeatedly. Did you text criminals and warn them that police officers were coming to get them? Police in East St. Louis and the villages surrounding it. Sir, can you talk about the allegations against you? Have been charged with committing serious crimes in the line of duty. Mr. Halter, why were you arrested today?
I don't know.
You don't know. Well, here's your complaint. Why don't you read the criminal complaint?
It might have been for sucking your
Excuse me? Many of them have bounced from one small-town police department to another, often getting hired because of their connections to a chief or more prominent politicians who are either corrupt or conveniently choose to ignore complaints about their favored cops. Either way, the process of law enforcement is corrupted. In Allerton, village leaders may proclaim Jesus as Lord, but criminals ran the government, so public officials are often cut a lot of slack. Last year, our investigation found the city administrator and public works director were both convicted felons who had recently served time in prison.
No comment.
None of that bothered Allerton Mayor Randy McCallum, who repeatedly supported the public officials who were investigated, charged, and in some cases convicted of crimes. But that's not surprising. Allerton's tolerance of official misconduct goes back decades.
The people here loves me. They come by to see me, they call me. They wish I was mayor.
Callie Mobley became mayor of Allerton in 1981, serving 19 years in office. After she became mayor, her husband Jimmy got promoted to run the streets department. Federal prosecutors allege the couple stole more than $240,000 in cash and services from the poverty-stricken village. Ms. Mobley was convicted of tax evasion and served 2 years in prison.
I think corruption is a big problem.
How do you define corruption? What is corruption?
I guess I'm going to use your word that you said, crook. And I didn't like the sound of it, but it's true. I think that we as a people that goes into things like that, I think that we think that maybe we can get away with something. I never wanted to get away with anything. I mean, once they say, you did this and you did that.
Up until that point, you were getting away with it.
But I always felt bad.
You felt bad while you were getting away with it.
Yeah.
But you kept doing it.
I know.
So you couldn't have felt too badly.
Well, I felt bad.
Her story is a lesson of the poor bowing to temptation. Mobley says when she first became mayor, she was making only $600 a month. Then, because she had access to more money and power than she ever imagined, she essentially got the keys to her own kingdom, and she quickly abused the privilege. Because you were breaking the law, you were able to get a better quality of life.
But it was wrong.
It was wrong. No one would excuse it.
No.
But you were
and
able
I would
to buy
want them to.
But you were able to buy nicer clothes.
Yeah.
You were able to buy a nicer car, right?
Right.
Probably nicer furniture. All those things because you were a crook.
That's what you said. You got to change that name.
But is that right?
You get the dictionary, you're going to find another word for that.
But
yeah, you're right.
But in fairness, you were a crook.
Yeah.
And it's hard to accept that.
I don't like the terminology, but you were right. You're right.
Smoke fills the sky. as another fire rages in East St. Louis. The fuel for the blaze is the dry, rotted wood of abandoned houses, the kindling of countless urban infernos. A dozen families live within a block of the fire that threatens to get out of control.
Are you trying to make contact?
As firefighters put out the flames, we hear the sirens of police racing to an unrelated emergency.
Who owns those houses?
I don't know.
During the last few years alone, hundreds of vacant houses have burned in East St. Louis, and many of them still stand as charred shells, waiting to be torched again.
To me, it's sickening.
The Tanner family lives next to this mess. They bought their home 30 years ago and take good care of it, but most of the block is abandoned, and two of the vacant houses right next to them caught on fire this summer. The fire also damaged the Tanners' home.
When people come from out of town, and they always ask that same question. What is this over here? It's vacant houses. I said we can't seem to get anything done.
Ceron and Associates has been one of the biggest property owners of rundown housing in East St. Louis for more than 50 years. The family-owned slum real estate empire owns about 500 houses and vacant lots. Many of them look abandoned, but a News 4 investigation found that within the last year, the city of East St. Louis had only cited 13 of their properties for code violations.
I was desperate because I didn't have anywhere to live.
Mahogany Burns bought this house from one of the Ceron's companies. She wasn't required to have any credit, only a relatively small amount of cash up front. She bought it for nearly $30,000, about 6 times what the Ceron's company paid for it.
What's it been like doing business with Mr. Ceron?
It's been like hell.
The kitchen needs major repairs. A bedroom is missing a large part of the ceiling, and the roof appears rotted.
It looks like it's wet. It looks like it's gonna fall in.
The basement smells of old sewage and mold. The sheetrock is coated with what appears to be mold, and exposure to it could create health problems for her.
That's why I keep the door shut and I don't come down here.
Ms. Burns pays $400 a month, plus the property taxes, utilities, and is responsible for all repairs. The one-year agreement has a final payment of $25,935, and it's due in 7 months.
Do you think you'll ever pay off this house?
No. They know I won't.
That must be hard.
It is. Because, they prey on low-income people. They think they're getting a deal.
Friday night in the Hustler Club. The multi-million-dollar operation is part of the biggest industry in Washington Park, a poor village just north of East St. Louis. There are 10 strip clubs here, one for every 500 residents.
The community has embraced us, and specifically the leaders of this community.
A decade ago, then Washington Park Mayor Sherman Sorrell and his wife joined Hustler founder Larry Flint for a ribbon-cutting ceremony to mark the club's grand opening. 2 months before that ribbon cutting, campaign finance records show the mayor received political contributions of $7,000 from the club that changed its name to Hustler. It was by far his largest campaign contributions. Sorrell declined to be interviewed for this program.
Well, why would we want to be anywhere else?
Inside Hustler, virtually all the employees and customers are white. There's plenty of money, and no one feels neglected. Outside the club, nearly all of the residents are black, many of them are poor, and the village looks largely abandoned. Since the Hustler ribbon cutting, Washington Park has filed for bankruptcy twice. 8-year-old Ike Packer loves to laugh, especially at me.
You know what I'm really afraid of? I'm afraid of spiders.
We met little Ike, as he's called, at the Christian Activity Center, one of the safest places in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in East St. Louis. It seemed like a good place to talk about our fears.
Do you feel safe walking down the street?
Nope.
Really? What are you afraid of when you walk down the street?
Scared of people chasing me. People be having guns.
Little Ike's fear has deep roots. 2 years ago, his 17-year-old brother Kenny was shot and killed as he walked to school.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Police.
Really? How come you want to be a policeman?
Because you help save people.
Do you know anybody who needs saving?
My brother, kid.
Your brother Kenny? How does your brother Kenny need saving?
Bring him alive again.
How do you help a kid like Ike?
You love him. You support him.
Chet Cantrell has been the executive director of the CAC for more than 20 years.
In all African dialects, just about, the word that translates from love is, I see you with my eyes. That's what it means. And so all kids just want to be seen, and they grow and flourish if somebody sees them and sees their potential and speaks that to them.
The CAC has helped thousands of East St. Louis children develop their potential and create a safe environment with rules that hold them accountable for misbehaving. The neighborhood around the CAC is one of the poorest and most violent in the entire St. Louis area. The staff says children who are actively involved in the center's programs are far less likely to join gangs or do illegal drugs, and in many cases, their grades improve dramatically.
Hey, what are you doing?
I don't know. I'm helping you.
Can I help you too?
For 17-year-old Xavier Swope, coming to the CAC as a young boy and now as a part-time worker has given him the opportunity to learn, become more focused, and give back to the community.
My dream, probably to see East St. Louis actually be known for our goodness instead of our badness.
It changed my life. It really did.
Michael Payne, a former CAC kid, helped launch the center's computer lab more than a decade ago. Now he's planning to pursue a PhD in computer science, focusing on facial recognition programs that could help businesses and law enforcement. After getting his doctorate, he'd like to open a network security business in East St. Louis, possibly training and hiring East St. Louis residents.
People need mentors. Whenever you're trying to do something or get somewhere, you need somebody that's been there or at least knows how to get there to be able to help you.
I believe I can fly.
According to the center, children who attend at least 3 days a week have a 97% high school graduation rate, more than double the citywide average. And after graduation, 3 out of 4 CAC kids attend college or a trade school. That's almost 6 times the average for the city as a whole. Michael Payne is only one of many success stories.
I know there's issues, but I try not to see the issues. I try to see how to fix them. You know, a lot of times people go and they see things, well, it's just bad, and it's just bad, and this is wrong, and that is wrong, you know. But, you know, what are you actually trying to do to help?
It's the kind of environment designed to support the hardworking families caring for kids like little Ike.
Ike told me he feels safe here.
Yeah.
And that he doesn't always feel safe when he leaves here.
And that's tragic. No kid should be afraid.
Is that little Ike?
We told East St. Louis Police Chief Michael Fleury about little Ike.
I heard you want to be a police officer. You do?
Yes.
Come on, let me show you I'm gonna show you my car.
And the chief couldn't wait to meet him.
Push that button. Now hit the bottom button. There you go. Hit it again. There you go. And say test 1, 2.
Test 1, 2.
There you go.
We all have dreams.
You remind me when I was little too. You look just like me.
It's too late for little Ike's big brother.
So you can be whoever you want to be. Whether it's a police or astronaut or whatever you want to be, you can be it.
But it's not too late.
Give me a hug there, buddy.
For little Ike.
Our job is to do what we can to let little Ike be somebody one day. He can be whoever he wants to be. Good kid.